Okie In this video, we're going to be doing another one of my Marvel/DC um, ranking videos. And like I mentioned in my previous haul video, um, this one, or in last place here, is going to be the best of DC animated movies. And I'm going to be counting it as a collection instead of like how good a collection it is, instead of talking about the 8 movies featured in it. Right? 8 movies? Yes, 8 movies. Um, because they've showed up in other rankings or will be in another ranking here within this animation ranking series. Um, so in last place or 24th place is this best of DC animated movies collection. And I think rather than having All-Star Superman in here, it should have had Justice League Dark Apocalypse War. And instead of having Batman versus TMNT, it should have had Wonder Woman Bloodlines. But the movies included in here as is are All-Star Superman, Batman the Killing Joke, Batman versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Death of Superman, Justice League Dark, Justice League versus Teen Titans, Suicide Squad, Hell to Pay, and Wonder Woman. And all those movies in here are really good, but as a collection, it should have been structured a little bit differently. But Batman looks ready for business there on the package, like he was gearing up to do some damage. And then in 23rd place, one I just recently rewatched is Megamind. This is the one that in my previous video that I mentioned is kind of like a Superman-esque story where Megamind would be comparable to Lex Luthor, and Metro Man there on the case is comparable to Superman, because he has a bunch of the similar powers to Superman with heat vision, super strength, flying, near invulnerability, etc. So that is cool. Yeah. And yeah, I'm trying not to show the back of the case because I wrote my name on initially the front, but I flipped this upside down. So this is actually the bottom and the back. But if I open it up, you can see usually would be over here like that, but it is not. So yeah. And then in 23rd place, we actually have kind of a 3-way tie with these 3 Spider-Man the new animated series episode collections. These are 9 episodes that are in this collection here, and they are Spider-Man Disabled, where Silver Sable shows up fighting an organic web shooter webbing Spider-Man, where it's more like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man able to shoot the webs himself. And then Mind Games Part 1 and 2 on this collection with the Ultimate Face-Off. And then with this collection, it's High Voltage Villains. It features The Party, When Sparks Fly, and Keeping Secrets. All of which have something to do with Electro, except for the last one, it looks like. But yeah. And then the third one here is The Mutant Menace, where featuring Tight Squeeze, Law of the Jungle, and Sword of Shikida. And the Law of the Jungle episode has to do with the lizard. And yeah, but these ones tie in 23rd place. because that that Spider-Man animated series in and of itself, um, it had the voice or the voice of the Kingpin in that series was the same one from the Daredevil movie with Ben Affleck, and he even looked like the Ben Affleck Kingpin a little bit, or actually quite a bit. And then the spider costume looked like Tobey Maguire's and behaved like Tobey Maguire's with the organic web shooters instead of the artificial web shooters that Tom Holland and Andrew Garfield have. And other cartoon Spider-Mans have artificial web shooters as well. But moving on, in 22nd place, we have Next Avengers Heroes of Tomorrow. And it looks like the MCU is kind of gearing up for this type of story where not necessarily descendants of the original Avengers, but um, very similar characters to the original Avengers are coming about in a younger way, like Miss Marvel, Kate Bishop, Hawkeye, Ant-Man's daughter, Cassie Lang, and whatnot. Um, so this one's close to, or the storyline of this one is semi-close to entering the MCU with those characters in mind. Um, and then, let's see, 24, 25, 24, 23, 22. In 21st place, we have Teen Titans Go to the Movies. And they sure said Slade a lot because Deathstroke, aka Slade Wilson, is the main villain of the movie. And most of the movie's actually Robin trying to get his own movie in and of himself while being in a movie. And this has probably one of my favorite um, of Stan Lee's animated cameos, where he shows up, where Stan Lee cameos at first, and he's like, what are you doing here? This is a DC movie. He's like, oh, this is a DC movie. I gotta get out of here. And then he shows up again later, being like, I don't care if this is a DC movie. I love cameos. And so it was hilarious. I love that those two Stan Lee cameos. They're just like so good. So good. One I rewatched recently is Teen Titans Go versus Teen Titans, and you can tell just from the case here the color differences between the Teen Titans continuity being much darker and more and the characters look more like teenagers in that one, honestly, to the much lighter color palette of the Teen Titans Go, where they look more like where Starfire looks more pink than a or more light pink than a red than a dark pink hair, and something I didn't even think was going to be possible. Raven looks even paler in Teen Titans Go. Um, but yeah, it's lots of fun watching this movie, and it has a huge amount of Teen Titan teams near the end for the final battle sequence, and it's a real good movie. Um, and let's see, 24, 25, 24, 23, 21, 20. In 19th place, we have Wonder Woman, which I mentioned with the best of DC animated movies collection there. But this one is the standalone version, um, where it's not in a collection. I mean, and it's a really good um, Wonder Woman origin story where Ares, the god of war, is causing chaos, and she's trying to stop him. She meets and falls in love with Steve Trevor, and vice versa. He falls in love with her as well. And then I believe it even goes as far as to be set in World War One, like the live action Gal Gadot Wonder Woman movie is, I think. But um, Oh, Alfred Molina is in this, and Rosario Dawson. Very cool. Um, but yeah, great animated movie here. And one that I mentioned when I was saying how the best of DC animated movies was missing something. In 18th place, we have Wonder Woman Bloodlines, which is a New 52 stylized sequel to this one. Um, and um, this one brings in Cheetah, and I forget who this flying character is here, but um, it it's set in the New 52 DC animated universe. Uh, once again, featuring the voice talents of Rosario Dawson, I think as the title character. And that's the only name on the back of here that I recognize is Rosario Dawson because she's a live action Ahsoka on Disney Plus. And so it continues the storyline in a satisfying way. What and and I think I want to say that's one of the Themysciran Amazonian women that she's fighting against. And I don't recognize all three of the characters on the back, but I recognize Cheetah for sure there. Um, Cheetah's right here. I don't recognize this person or this one, but I would have to rewatch it to be like, oh yeah, that's who that is. Okay. But a very good DC animated movie right there, and yet it's in 18th place, which isn't really a fair placement, but that's fine. In 17th place, we have Iron Man and Hulk Heroes United. And this was part of a two Heroes United movie storyline where they had Iron Man and Hulk and then Iron Man and Captain America. Um, I haven't been able to find the Captain America one, or it would be in this ranking as well. But this one is definitely a really good Iron Man and Hulk team up movie. Um, it has an interesting animation style, and I'll show you the back here. The main villain is Zax, the living electricity guy that isn't Electro. Um, just another living electrical villain. Um, and it describes Zax as a seemingly invincible, energy devouring monster. So there you go. That's our 17th place title. Our 16th place title is Thor Tales of Asgard. Before the hammer came the sword. So this takes place before he had Mjolnir. And in this, he has a sword, as the little subtext at the bottom here suggests. And Thor is also much younger in it, as you can see from that image there. More of like a teenager of sorts. Um, I believe him and Loki are. This was before Loki really became evil, like fully evil, and it leads into that when that happens. Um, and does actually show his descent into evil. But um, but yeah, it yeah, just good Thor origin type movie. Um, this video is going to be a little bit more Marvel heavy, in case you haven't noticed. Um, up next is no deviation from that. In 15th place, we have the Invincible Iron Man animated movie, and this one appears to cover the Iron Man Mark One suit, where it's kind of hobbled together from a box of scraps. And it has him primarily in this armor, which I don't think they actually establish a suit or like a Mark number 2, but it looks like the MCU's Mark 6 with the triangular chest plate or unibeam thing. Um, I don't recognize any of the names of the voice actors on the back here. Another um, Iron Man animated movie that I want to try and get is the Rise of the Technivore story, because I think that's a really interesting Iron Man story and movie. But for the intents and purposes of this video, even though I have seen it, I'm not going to be ranking it in this video because I don't have it. This next one is going to be ranking or two different titles being ranked in 14th and 13th place respectively. In 14th place is Hulk versus Thor, where Hulk is fighting Thor, as the title would suggest, and he's causing a bunch of mayhem on Asgard, actually. And Loki's not really helping matters much. He's making matters worse, in fact. And then the second one, or in 13th place, the other version of this is Hulk versus Wolverine. And that, in my mind, is the much more appealing story because it also brings a PG-13 version of Deadpool in while still showing off his regenerative abilities, where Wolverine cuts off his arm and with his claws at one point, and you see it like the arm fall apart, and his healing factor works by sticking the pieces back together and watching them like fuse back together. It's really cool. Also, still PG-13 though. Both are PG-13, which is really cool. Because I was able to watch them with my dad. And then in 12th place, we have Planet Hulk. And this, a similar story to this version is featured in Thor Ragnarok, where Hulk is on Sakaar as in gladiator fight, or gladiator death matches, basically. And he's, like dominating all the opponents he goes up against, and like conquering them all. And really good animated movie as well. Let's see, that was 11th place, I think. In 10th place, we have Avengers Confidential, Black Widow, and Punisher, which shows that the Punisher can be in a PG-13 title because that's what this is. And it works really well as both a Punisher movie, a Black Widow movie, and an Avengers movie. And it's I'm going to go ahead and read the premise on the back of the case here. It says, after intervening with a top secret mission, the Punisher is taken into custody by S.H.I.E.L.D. agent and Avenger Black Widow. At the order of director Nick Fury, Punisher and Black Widow are sent on a mission to stop Leviathan, a global terrorist organization that plans to sell stolen S.H.I.E.L.D. technology to the highest bidder, kind of like what was happening in the first season of Agent Carter. Now the vigilante and spy must work together to prevent this technology from falling into the wrong hands. The fate of the world and the Avengers hang in the balance. The part about stealing technology, with Leviathan stealing technology, is kind of like what Leviathan in Agent Carter was doing with Stark Tech, or with Howard Stark's secret weapons and whatnot, or his deadliest weapons, I should say. And so that it kind of parallels with this in that way. But obviously that was set during or just after World War II with Peggy Carter and not Avenger characters. But in, let's see, that was 11th place, I think. In 10th place, I think, hold on, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 6, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14. I'm not sure where we're at because there's six, there's six titles left to talk about. So 25 minus. Okay, so, and anyway, we have six titles left. So in sixth place, we have Teen Titans: The Judas Contract. This one acts as an origin story for the Teen Titans team, which includes Raven. Four of the characters that you would expect in a Teen Titans team, being Raven, Beast Boy, Starfire, and now even though now he's Nightwing, Dick Grayson's version of Robin has grown up to become Nightwing. There's also another Robin in this. I think Damian Wayne Robin. And then they throw in Terra and Blue Beetle as well. And they face a familiar foe, Deathstroke and Brother Blood. And just really good movie. Definitely check it out if you haven't. In fifth place, we have Avengers Assemble, Assembly Required. This, I believe, is the first first two episodes, it looks like, of the Avengers Assemble TV show or cartoon, I should say. So you can kind of tell how Iron Man's fingers are glowing. That's because he has repulsors in his fingers and his palm, which I thought was a really awesome take on his capabilities. And the Avengers Assemble and Earth's Mightiest Hero shows in general are very, very good Avengers cartoons. I would say they're the definitive Avengers cartoons. But yeah. And then in fourth place, we have Spider-Man: The Ultimate Villain Showdown. This is from the Spider-Man the Animated Series from the 1990s. The same one that spawned the Venom Saga, Spider-Man vs. Daredevil, Return of Doc Ock, those collections of episodes. I got this one at Value Village. But I really loved this Spider-Man continuity. I think it also gave us Stan Lee's first animated cameo set in a real-world version of New York where superheroes only exist on the page, which in the comics is supposed to be the 616 universe, honestly, but the MCU has retconned that to be that's where the superheroes actually exist. And in real world, obviously, since the main reality of the MCU is the 616 universe. However, in the comics or in the cartoons, from what I've heard, that's not the case. But that's what they went with, and that's kind of what I've retconned into my story with Universe 626. Also, kind of emulating Stitch a bit there with numerically. And the top three are all in the same case, and that is the Spawn collection here of animated movies. Um, and it says featuring all three seasons of Spawn, but it wasn't seasons because it was just like they were each movies, not like a season of a show. Very mature, very adult, lots of graphic violence, lots of topless women. We'll put it that way. And so in third place, I'm going to put Spawn 2, the middle movie here. In our runner-up in second place is going to be the first Spawn animated movie, and my favorite of the bunch is Spawn 3: The Ultimate Battle. And all three of them are really good animated Spawn movies. The live action version of Spawn from like the late 90s looked had a similar fluid look to Venom, and so I call it more of a symbiote Spawn, where he looks like one of the Venom symbiotes. Especially with Tom Hardy's version of Venom, how it was a lot more fluid looking. But anyway, that is my ranking, or that is this ranking for Marvel and DC animated projects, including a couple of Elseworlds projects with Megamind and the Spawn trilogy. But Spawn is definitely dark enough to be in the DC universe. Whether or not it officially is or not, or is supposed to be like that, in my mind, it's very much a DC property. And Megamind is very Superman reminiscent of a story. So there you go. That is my DC / Marvel and Elseworlds property ranking, which is a mouthful. I'm just gonna call. I think when I upload it, I'll have it called Isaac's Marvel and DC animation ranking, part 4, I believe, because I've done 4 of these, I think. But there's one more ranking of animation projects that's going to be going in this subsection. However, when I named my playlist for these animation videos rankings, I just called it Isaac's Animation Rankings, which leaves it open to having any future solely animation rankings in that playlist as well. So there you go. And I'll catch you in the next video. And keep talking movies too much. And be sure to spread the word of my channel. Tell your friends, family, people you run into at the grocery store, whoever you tell your dentist, your doctors, whatever. Yeah. And hopefully you enjoy this video and have a good rest of your day. Catch you in the next video.